Hello everyone and welcome to the first session of the International Accounting Day badging series. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for today. We also have Michael, Laura and Matt on hand today to answer your questions. Today's session is going to last approximately 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we have outstanding at the end. If we don't get a chance to answer all of your questions, we will reach out to you via email after the session has ended. So just before we begin, just a little bit of housekeeping. So you will be placed on mute automatically. If you wish to ask us any questions, you can use the questions panel down the right-hand side. And it's just that little speech bubble icon with the question mark in the middle. If you wish to download your handout today, you can click on the icon that looks like a little document with the folded corner. Alternatively, it will be available as a link in your follow-up email as well. And you'll get that around an hour after the session has ended. Please note as well, the webinar recording is going to be included in that follow-up email as well. So don't worry if you aren't able to follow completely along with this webinar, you are able to rewatch that recording as well. Okay, so let's just cover what we're going to be expecting from this International Accounting Day series. So you've got to attend any of the 3 of the 4 topics, plus one of our quiz sessions to earn your digital badge. Now, we've done these digital badges quite a few times now, and they always prove quite popular. So you can pop these badges on your email signature, share it on social media like LinkedIn, let your colleagues or your clients or your customers know that you're more proficient with your Sage accounting software. Again, if you want to get registered for the other sessions, so what we've got coming up is obviously today we're covering bank feeds. We're also doing Sage Copilot, which is automated payment reminders, Sage Connect, AI document capture, and then we've got that quiz just to test your knowledge. If you want to get registered for the other sessions, on your handout you can click register now. Alternatively, those links are going to be in your follow-up email as well. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're going to be covering in today's webinar. So we're going to take a little bit look at what are bank feeds. We'll then do some bank feeds demonstration on how to process in bank feeds. We'll then look at bank feeds rules, and then we'll look at we'll do a bank feeds rules demonstration. Then towards the end, we'll look at further support and pick up any remaining questions. So we've got quite a lot to try and get in within 45 minutes. So please do bear with me on that one. Now, I just want to launch a poll on your screen there. And I'm just wanting to know how many of you have actually used bank feeds before. Now, some of you may have heard of it, you may have tried it yourself. Let me know in the poll, if you just pop your votes in there, simple yes or no, and just so I can see where people are at with their knowledge. So maybe today you're attending because you need to brush up a bit more on how to understand bank feeds, or you may not have heard of it at all. So hopefully we can cover both bases there. Okay, so I can see we've got around 80% there. So I'm just going to close that poll down. Don't worry if you haven't voted. And I'll share the results with you as well. So as you can see, 38% of you have used bank feeds before, and 62% of you haven't. So hopefully we'll cover a bit of both bases. We are going a bit back to basics on how to use it, but at least you can use this chance if you have used it before to ask those questions as well. Okay, so I'm just going to hide that poll down and let's get stuck in. So bank feeds. So what are bank feeds? So it is a tool that you use alongside your bank reconciliation feature. By connecting to your live bank accounts, it can automate a lot of the reconciliation process. So it enables you to download or import your transactions. Now, importing has only become available in the version 30.1 and above. So you primarily use that if your bank is not compatible. You can match against existing transactions. You can create new transactions from within downloaded transactions. You can create and manage rules to automatically post transactions into the software for you. And also as well, it is free to use, so it's included within your subscription. So there's no charge from us and there's no charge from the bank. Lastly, I just want to make a note that bank feeds is a one-way link. So information is not going to be sent from your Sage Accounts software to your bank. It only retrieves that information. So let's take a look at what it may look like if you are manually reconciling your bank account. So what I mean by manually reconciling in this case is you might be just doing the normal bank reconcile screen. You might be doing it outside of the software. You may be accessing your statements online, printing them off, or you may receive them via post. You may have a lot of transactions, so your statements are long, or you may have a few months worth of reconciling to do if it's been a busy period, which could lead to a lot of paperwork on and around the desk. Now, I'm not saying everyone's desk does look like that, but just as an example. What you'll be doing is you'll be cross-referencing what's in your Sage software or creating new transactions and then looking at the statement and then ticking them off as you go. If you use bank feeds, all displayed in one place on the screen. Now, don't worry if you can't see what's on the screen there at the moment. This isn't a demonstration. I am going to be doing a full demonstration later on in the session. But there's no need for printed statements or flicking between browsers or PDF documents and then back to the Sage software. You can match the downloaded transactions from your bank to either an existing transactions, create new ones, or create rules to post them automatically for you. Then once you have matched all the relevant transactions, it will take you to the normal bank reconcile screen, and then all your matched transactions will already be in the matched section of the bank reconciliation window. Now, if your bank supports automatic feeds, then the software will download your transactions for you automatically. Not all banks are going to be compatible with the automatic feed, but that's why we introduced the import, as this we call it now the manual way. You can actually download a file from your bank and import that into your bank feeds. Again, the import option is only available if you are on version 30.1 or above. If you're not on that version, you're on a lower version and your bank isn't compatible, might be worth upgrading your software to be able to get access to this option. Now, I'm not going to go through how to set up bank feeds today because we've got a lot to cram in 45 minutes. But what I have included in your handout, if you click on the button that says set up bank feeds here, it will take you to the relevant guide on how to set up your bank feeds. Either way, the options are slightly different and how you set it up. But once you have set it up, the processing is exactly the same. And that's what we're going to go through today. Okay, so we'll get stuck in with the processing within bank feeds. So we've broken bank feeds down into, I would say, 4 steps, and then step 5 is where you reconcile your transactions. So we're going to be covering step 1 to 4 today. If you have the handout downloaded, if you click on step 5, that will take you to the recorded webinar for bank reconciliation. So that's a process you would complete after you've done your bank feeds. What we'll do now is we'll go through each of the steps and we'll show you some demonstration as well. Let's get started with Auto Match. So Auto Match tab This is where you'll find quite a bit of automation can take place, where basically this is based off suggested transactions, so suggested matches. So as long as you've got your Sage transaction already processed in the software, so posted into Sage, if it tends to match the criteria of a downloaded transaction, so any transaction with the same value or date, give or take 4 days, it's going to give you a suggested match. Now, that might not be correct, but that's fine. You just simply have a check. If it is, you click confirm. If it isn't, you click unmatch. For multiple matches with similar details, it will show similar transactions. You can click in view and it will show you the options, and then you can select which one is the right transaction. So what I'll do now is I'll show you the first video demonstration of the Auto Match tab. Again, don't forget you have got me, Laura and Michael on hand today to answer your questions, so do get them through as they come to your head, and we can pick those up for you.
The Auto Match feature will match any transactions downloaded from your bank account to any existing Sage transactions. They need to have the same value and have a transaction date within 4 days of any transactions already entered into your Sage accounts. You can filter the downloaded transactions by date. To do this, at the top of the window, choose the date you want to include transactions up to, and the transactions will filter automatically. There are 2 parts to the screen. On the left, the bank transactions which have been downloaded from your bank, and on the right, the transactions entered into the Sage bank account manually. You can specify what information you'd like to include on the Sage transactions. To do this, use the drop-down menu at the top right. This can help identify transactions, for example by including details such as the transaction number, the extra reference, and the transaction details. Matches are indicated by the green link between the transactions. Here you can confirm if they're correct by clicking on Confirm, and this will transfer them to the Confirmed tab. You can unmatch transactions if an incorrect match has been made, and once unmatched you can manually match the transactions within the To Be Matched tab. We'll show you this in step 2. You can also confirm all transactions at the same time by clicking Confirm All. For transactions where there is more than one possible match, the potential transactions are presented. You can view the potential matches and choose the correct transaction.
Okay, so once you've done the Auto Match tab, you can then move on to the To Be Matched tab. Now, you don't necessarily have to do them in this order either, but at least if you go through your auto matched transactions, if there's anything that doesn't fit within Auto Match, maybe it was an incorrect suggested match, at least you then move into your To Be Matched tab, and then you can match those manually. So the To Be Matched tab, this is where you are going to match all of your transactions that are remaining outside of the Auto Match tab. So in here you can match multiple transactions, not just on a one-to-one basis, so it could be one-to-many, many-to-one, on either side, or many-to-many. It's entirely up to you. From here you can create new transactions, so you can create customer transactions, supplier transactions, bank transfers, and you also got the option as well is to ignore transactions if they've been duplicated, you've maybe processed them outside of bank feeds, and you can also process recurring items if you're still going to use that option. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the next video demonstration.
Next, we'll take a look at the To Be Matched tab. In Product Help will appear again with instructions and video demonstrations to help you with the transition to the new Bank Feeds module. Transactions shown here could not be auto-matched with any existing transactions in Sage. This allows you to manually match the remaining transactions. Searches can be applied for both bank and Sage transactions, and sorts apply to the transaction lists, including by date, amount, reference, type, or revert to default. Manual matching allows you to match multiple transactions, not just on a one-to-one basis. For example, this first transaction here has been processed as two separate transactions in Sage accounts. We can match this single transaction to both of the Sage transactions. To do this, either highlight the transactions to be matched and select Match Selection, or you can click and drag between two transactions to form the transaction link. If there's only a part match, you will see the orange indicator or part match badge on the transaction link. Once the full match is achieved, the transactions will move to the Confirm tab. Manual matching can be done for multiple transactions. If you're dragging to form matches, once the balances from both the bank account and the Sage transactions match, as shown here, they will move to the Confirmed tab automatically. The alternative again is to highlight all of the transactions and click Match Selection. Matching can also work the other way. One Sage transaction might comprise of two transactions downloaded from your bank. Again, we can drag to form the transaction links or highlight all transactions involved and click Match Selection. Providing the selected difference is 0, this will match them and move them to the Confirm tab. From the To Be Matched tab, you can also create any missing transactions. Click the Create option on the bank transaction and choose the type you'd like to create. Enter the transaction details, and this can also allocate the payment to an outstanding invoice if applicable. This can also apply if we have part of a transaction entered into Sage accounts but part is missing. We can match the transaction and then select Create to create the missing element. Here we have a part match for £1,000. We can then click Create and process a transaction for the missing £273.08. Within this window, if you realise you have recurring items missing, you can also view your recurring items and process these without leaving the Bank Feeds window. This will add them to the Bank Feeds window to be manually matched. Should you wish to ignore a transaction, for example, if it's a duplicate, highlight the item and click Ignore Selection. This can be reinstated if required. To view the ignored transactions, click View Ignored, and to reinstate these to the To Be Matched window, select Restore. It's important to note that if you leave the Bank Feeds window at this point, all matches will be lost and the matching process will need to start again. This will not, however, undo any transactions created during.
Okay, so we just had a quick question come through there, and how can I add transactions together to create one transaction? So what you can do, I just want to quickly answer this one before we move on to the Confirm tab. If you select multiple transactions, so for example, we'll choose money in. So select this one here and this one here. If we select create on that individual tile, that's just going to create a transaction for that amount. If you want to combine the value, so we want to add that 110 and the 86 together, you can select them both And then along the right, when you click create transaction, it will combine the value for those transactions. Okay, so I'm just going to pop back to my slides. And this is the confirmed tab. So this confirmed tab, at this point, you will review all your matches before proceeding to the reconciliation window. At this point, this is where you would create your rules before reconciling. So you create rules based off your matched transactions, and we're going to cover that in the session. At this point, if you're not creating any rules or you've created your rules, you can then save and close and come back at a later date. That will move all of those transactions from the Confirm tab into your normal bank reconcile screen. Alternatively, you also have Save and Continue to Reconcile, which is at that point you can reconcile your transactions. But let's take a look at the last video demonstration for processing within bank feeds. Again, do keep your questions coming throughout the session as well.
The final step is to review all confirmed transactions before proceeding to bank reconciliation. This allows you to review transaction matches and double-check your data before saving. By highlighting a match, you can clearly see and check the Sage transactions and the bank transactions that have been matched against one another. There is the search feature for easily locating transactions, and you can then make any amendments or unmatch any incorrect transactions, sending them back to the To Be Matched tab if required. In addition, from this window, we have the option to create rules. Bank feeds rules can help automate your processing even further. You can set up specific rule criteria and provide posting details to be applied to transactions. Each time a transaction downloaded from the bank matches the set criteria, a Sage transaction will be automatically created, saving you time and reducing the risk of human error. There is also the option to export all confirmed transactions into a CSV file should you need to do so. Finally, we have the option to save. Save and close will save your progress, transferring all transactions to the match box of bank reconciliation. It allows you to come back to the reconciliation step at a later point through bank and reconcile. If you're ready to reconcile immediately, then use the option to save and continue to reconcile. This will save progress and immediately open bank reconciliation for you. Enter your statement details, and you can then see your transactions which have been matched during bank feeds are already in the matched box. Once you're happy with your bank reconciliation, click Reconcile to flag these transactions as reconciled.
Okay, so like I say, don't worry if you haven't been able to keep up with the demonstration. Don't worry, because you are going to receive a link to the recording in your follow-up email. So if you need to go back and re-watch at your own pace, then that is available as well. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll move on to the second part of the webinar, which is bank feeds rules. So with bank feeds rules, this kind of replaces the recurring items. So you wouldn't necessarily use bank feeds rules and recurring items. You would either use one or the other. The beauty of bank feeds rules is that transactions can be created automatically. You can either choose to post them automatically, or you can actually choose to approve them as well. And it's not based on you have to approve all or you have to approve none. It's on an individual basis, so you can approve one, another one that you might be confident with then you can post that one automatically. You create rules based on matched transactions. You can assign nominal codes to transactions and tax codes. You can also split transactions over nominal codes as well. So you would be able to do that with your customers or your suppliers, but you'll see in the example that we're going to do today that you'll be able to split those transactions. So depending on how you want to report on your nominal codes as well. Now, bank feeds rules is not available for foreign currency bank accounts or bank transfers. So you can use bank feeds for those two, so bank transfers and for foreign bank accounts, but you can't create rules for those. Okay, and lastly, you've got maximum of 300 rules per bank account. Now, you might not think that sounds a lot if when you've got one bank account, but if you've got several bank accounts, that's 300 rules per bank feed. So that's potentially, say you've got 3 bank accounts set up with bank feeds, that's potentially 900 rules. That's 900 transactions that you could automate. Now, before we go to the demonstration, people always like to see what sort of examples you might want to use bank feeds rules for. Now, if you've got any additional ones that I don't have on this list, please do share with me. So do always like to leave, show real life examples. Okay, so examples that we have. So direct debits, utility bills, company phone bills, rent, bank loans, car finance, insurance, professional fees. If you're using this for your customers or your suppliers, direct debits, standing orders. A bit like recurring items, bank feeds rules is for recurring transactions or regular transactions. Okay, so we'll pop into the demonstration now. So last part of the demonstration in the software. So we'll pop back over to my Sage. And let's have a look. So you may have auto match transactions that you want to click and confirm. But what we'll do is, I don't have any auto matched at the moment. So I'll go and find a transaction. So just bear with me a moment. Let's have a look. What we'll do is we'll do utility bill first. So let's just find that one there. So we're going to use this one. This is my account number for my utility account. And let's find that transaction. So I think this is my gas and electric. So remember processing these. So I'll find those 2 transactions, match them together, pop into the confirmed tab, and there is that transaction. We're going to select the transaction. And then we're going to click create rule. If you don't have anything selected, so a clear selection, create rule won't be available. So make sure you do have a transaction selected. So we'll click create rule. It's a little bit bigger. And we'll give this rule a name. Now, before we do, I want to make it very clear that rules will only apply to newly downloaded transactions. So it doesn't work retrospectively. It will only be after that rule is created, after any transactions after that, then the rule will apply. So we'll call this gas and electric. Might be because I'm using a character there. So we'll use gas and electric. You can see the information here is pulling from the match transaction. Now, next we've got conditions. Now, conditions, criteria, basically it's what the transaction has to hit or meet rather before it is created. So it could be any of these options. Now, you can have as many or as little as you want. So it could be you want to choose reference, You've also got as well, you've got a drop down, so it could be the references equals, contains, or does not contain. You've got the amount. You've also got drop down options here as well. You've got day of the month. If you're unsure what this means, if you click on the little green question mark, it will explain the value should be entered, should be the transaction date, not the posting date. You've got the check number, account number, and sort code. Now, if this is a customer or a supplier, and you've already got those details in the record, then it will populate. Alternatively, what you could do is just type those in like so. Now, you don't have to have all of these ticked. Again, it's entirely up to you. So I'll just take these out because I'm not going to use these ones in particular. If I was to use reference and amount, I can then split the transaction over two ways. So I'll just pop to the transaction details. So if I was to use reference and amount, I can then choose to split by percentage or by amount. Now, if I only have reference selected, because let's just say I know my account reference is always going to be the same, but my amount might change. So I'll untick that option. When I go back to split, I only get percentage. So you'll only get amount if you have amount selected. So I know my value might change, so I'm going to just stick with a percentage. It's already selected the nominal code for me based off the original transaction. I'm going to choose my percentage, so I'm just going to say 70%. If you use departments, you can select a department. I don't use departments in this particular company, but if you do, then you have that option as well. The reference again is pulled automatically from the original Sage transaction. Details you might want to pop in here. Well, I know this is my electricity. So I'm going to use electric as the details. You've also got options for extra reference, project, and cost code as well. I'm going to add another split. Now you can split this more than once. Obviously, it goes based on the percentage. So if I was to say, well, actually, you might have another transaction you might want to split over different nominal codes for whatever reason. As long as you select and there's some remaining. So for example, if I wanted to split this 20%, and then I've still got a 10%, you can see I've got another split option there as well. Alternatively, you can click the little rotating arrow on the right, use remaining split, and it'll allocate the remaining value. Again, we've got percentage, departments, reference. I'm going to pop in here, well, this is my gas mixture. I've just realized as well, we haven't changed our nominal code, so just make sure you change your nominal code as well, because it will default to the original transaction that was created in Sage. So I've changed that to gas. You scroll to the very bottom. Here you've got auto posting. So you've got review transactions before posting, or you've got automatically post transactions without approval. Again, this is on a rule-to-rule basis. It's not one size fits all, so you can approve some, and then some you can just post automatically. It's entirely up to you. When the rule criteria is met, the transactions are shown in the Rule Approvals tab, which is this tab here. I'm going to show you this, but you'll only see Rule Approvals tab if you have selected rules to be approved. If all of yours are auto post, you will not have the Rule Approvals tab. Okay, so we'll click Create. Okay, so that's our rule created. So if we click Manage Rules in the top right, you can see that's probably why I have that, because I still have an old one as well. So Got the gas and electric rule there that I created. If you do want to just quickly change to auto post, you can simply click the tick and that will start auto posting from the next download or import. In the bottom left, you can see I've got 1 of 300 rules available. So at least I can see how many rules I have made up there. Now, if you go into edit your rule, you can't change the name. You may be able to change some of the details in here. So, for example, if we're going into winter now, you might want to be changing the percentage or the value. You can come in and change those details. So then the next time it's downloaded from the bank and it comes out, so say your statement generates, you know how much it's going to be for your gas and electric. You can come in here, change the details, and then it knows when it hits the bank what the split is. So you can come in there. Again, if you need to change the name, you can't, so you will need to delete that rule and create a new one if the name is incorrect. Okay, so I might have enough time for one more example. We'll do a customer. So let's just go to another customer, find those as well. So I found my transaction. I'm going to create, I'm going to match these two. Click confirmed. But also, don't forget, you can also do this as well by clicking create your transaction, and then it will automatically move to that confirm tab. So it doesn't always have to be automatically, already posted. You can create a transaction as well. Okay, so let's just do quickly one for my customer. So I'm going to highlight chill customer, create rule, do chill direct debit. Let's just say I know the amount's going to be the same every time. So we'll select amount. Again, you can also, don't forget, you can also select more than one criteria as well. As you can see, the details are slightly reduced for customers and suppliers. Suppliers and customers do have the same details in here, but obviously it's quite reduced in comparison to the nominal codes. So you've got your customer account already selected based off the original transaction. Again, you've got department, reference, and extra reference as well. So you've got review transactions before posting. I'm going to leave that as it is. Click create. Then if we pop into manage rules, you can see I've got my two rules there. If I change my mind, I want to auto post again, don't forget, you can just quickly tick it and it will change for you. I'll quickly refresh my Sage so I can show you the rule approvals tab. There we go. So in rule approvals, you can see I've got quite a few obviously for those, but as you can see, we can come in here. So if you think you set up rules for your transactions, all you need to do is come into rule approvals, you check, you go, yep, right, that's correct, that's correct. So you can select as many as you want, you can approve all, you can just approve the selection, but just think how many less clicks that is in comparison to if you were manually, creating those transactions, going into BankRec, finding the transaction, matching it, checking your statement. This is all based off what has come out of your bank account. Okay, one more thing I do want to show you is if we pop back to the home page of the bank feeds, if you pop into the little settings icon, you will have to apply this as well. The setting I'm going to show you will have to be applied to each bank feed that you have, but you can use this option, flag transactions created from bank feeds rules as bank reconciled. So again, that just takes an extra step away from, if you're confident with what's being created by rules, then you can use that option as well. to speed up your reconciliation process. Okay, so again, do keep your questions coming if you do have any. What we'll do now is we'll pop back to my slides. Okay, so we've only got about 4 minutes left. So if you do have any further questions to ask, do get them through now. Again, I think the guys have managed to keep up with your questions. Let's have a quick look. So I know a question did come in there from Hannah. So does bank feeds rules replace recurring items? And I know Michael picked this one up. I just want to highlight this one. So the benefit of using the rules as well is they, as soon as they come, sent to the banking service and then downloaded from the banking service to your Sage software, that criteria, once that criteria is hit, it can create that transaction without you even having to even think about it. And one of the things Michael did mention as well, the difference between the recurring items and the bank feeds rules is that rules doesn't have like a preset frequency, so it will just post each time it is downloaded from the bank. So a question there from James, and we do get this on quite a lot of our sessions. So can bank feeds, banks rules match receipts against outstanding customer invoices, or does that still have to be done manually? So that still will have to be done manually. It's just a case of going into the payment, the customer receipt window, as you usually would, and just allocate those, because what it'll do is it'll post a payment on account. So you will just need to allocate that payment on account to your invoices. Let's see if we've got any other outstanding questions. So a question there from Diana. So if you have saved and closed after checking your confirmed but realized there has been an incorrect match, are you able to reverse the match? So because you've done it save and close, those transactions will have already moved to the bank reconciliation window. So all you would do is you would go to your normal bank reconciliation window. You'd have to just do it the manual way. So you'd unmatch it from the bank rec, make any changes, or and manually match them. It won't go back into bank feeds once you've unmatched them outside of bank feeds. So that process you would have to do manually. See if there's any others. I think that is it that we've managed to keep up on. Okay, so what I'll do, so I'll wait for any further questions to come through. Just want to tell you about the useful links that we are included in your handout. So again, set up bank feeds, that guide's there, using bank feeds, and also bank feeds rules as well. So don't forget to check out those guides. They're really helpful in this tip. They'll walk you through step by step as well. Just a reminder, all of our webinars for Sage 50 Accounts and Sage 50 Payroll, you can find those by just going to sage.co.uk/webinars. So that's where you'll find live webinars, recordings, and also as well, there's some there for Sage Business Cloud Accounting if you are using that product as well. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. If you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if you need to. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. Please let me know how I did on this webinar today. What did you like? What did you not like? What could we have done better? What would you have liked to have seen? I know it's quite a lot of information to, we usually split these webinars into two. So if you do need to revisit again, you can either rewatch this recording, or we do have in-depth broken down with the setup process on our recordings page as well. But yes, please do let me know any feedback. And we always do like to read all of those comments that do come through to us. Okay, so all of the questions have been answered. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this session up. I want to say thank you to my colleagues who've been on hand today to answer your questions, and thank you to you all for your participation. Just a reminder, we have got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.